Welcome to my channel and welcome to my annual flip-through videos about all my finished pictures. In this video I decided to unite several of my favorite books, like my one and only book by Klara Markova, It's Fairy Celebrations, one and only book by Emelie Lidehall Oberg, Sagar och Saknar. They are definitely in my top favorite list, with books by M.Trolle, which are definitely far from my favorites. Let's start from Fairy Celebrations. Here I don't work very frequently, maybe once in 2 or 3 months, and I switch between various pencil brands. I also switch between various medias for background. For example, here it's old work. Here I used liquid watercolor for the background. Quick and easy. It's a real pleasure to work on this paper because you can use whatever you want. Water-soluble art supplies, any pencils. This one I think that I did with Prismacolors, very tender. My only question to myself about this book, about masking black lines. Sometimes I love art by Klara Markova, even without masking black lines. Of course, without black lines it looks more like painting, but somehow even on her flowers quite often I don't mask lines and they still look nice. Maybe because the most important part for me is to make something fairy tale style, fantasy style, like I did here. You don't have to think about any realistic colors with such creatures like this sweet teeth dragon. So for me it's important to play with colors. Here I used Neocolor crayons to do the quick background, and then on the feathers of the hummingbird I used polychromos pencils. I actually love both Prismacolors and polychromos here, no preferences at all. Sometimes I select depending from the picture subject. If there are many leaves, then probably I select polychromos pencils just because of the green palette, but otherwise I love to use both brands. Unfortunately, I have one unfinished project here. I need to finish it. I started to do it last May. I was totally unhappy how it looked for the video. My lighting went completely wrong and I was so disappointed by the messed up video, so I decided that I don't want to finish the picture. Well, it was stupid, I know, because picture is lovely, so one day I definitely will finish it. I really love those pictures here where I did dark background. Somehow with dark background everything looks more interesting, more vibrant on these pages. Sometimes I struggle with selecting color for the background different from green or blue. So sometimes when I manage to find at least something different, I am totally proud of myself. This one I did with Prismacolors and it was this autumn work. It's not the easiest book for me to color because somehow I feel that pictures are a little bit too overcrowded, too many details, and they are frequently repeated from one page to another, but still they have a lot of humor, they all are very good spirited. I love to color her flowers, I love to color her berries. Her elves are a little bit, well, childish probably for my taste, but I still enjoy coloring them. Unfortunately, I dropped my book and I slightly damaged part of the pictures. I also had a lot of good practice in this book for the various mushrooms, for the berries like cherries here, for the honey. So it's also good to learn how to color something. And of course those berries, they are definitely my favorites in the whole book. This one I did with polychromos, it's also work of this year. So at least couple of pictures I try to add each year, so progress is slow but sure. Maybe it's advantage of having one book. Of course, I would love to have the whole selection of Klara Markova art from the first until the last one, and it's very good news that she is ready to publish the next book. But well, I have only one book, so it helps me to actually have some progress. I don't think that one day I will manage to finish even one book, but still I am glad that I add a couple of pictures each year. Yeah, maybe her later books, they are less popular, so you hadn't seen so many finished pictures. Like I have this problem with the fairy celebration. Many pictures are very popular, you already saw hundreds of finished projects. It's difficult to find your own way to color them. It's also one of my favorite winter pictures. Here I even managed to use Derwent color softs. They also are good on this paper. That was the first one which I did when I received this book with Prismacolors. This one I think that I did the last Christmas season. I really love how I did gingerbread house. It looks very yummy. I wouldn't mind to have a piece of such gingerbread myself. Here I think that it lacks a little bit of contrast and shading. It looks a little bit flat. And that's my current work in progress. You can see that it's very detailed, a lot of secondary elements, and I try to color slowly in order to calculate colors, how to color all the secondary elements in interesting way, so they are interesting to look at, and in the same time so they wouldn't distract attention from the main characters. Not an easy task, but I enjoy it. And I also want to do this one. It's good for the Christmas season, and it's also about coloring. I hope that I will find time to do this page also. Maybe quick background with watercolors or with nail colors will help me to finish this one. Next, it's Sagar och Sakner, and I'm extremely happy that because of the new publisher now this book has the second life, and many colorists now can purchase the second edition and to color these lovely pictures. They also look quite simple, but in the same time they are easy to color. All pictures are very well planned, compositions are really good, and they always put a smile on your face. It was a title page. You know that I love to experiment on title pages, where I tested neon colors when I just received them. Here I also quite frequently switch between various media. Prismacolors here, Derwent graphitins, Derwent ink tents, Derwent color sorts, and probably even something else. I think that here I used almost all my brands. It was just for fun to test how many mediums I can put on one page, but I still think that it's lovely. I wanted to do this Thunder, Mistress of Thunder, of the rain. She has in the same time snow and drops of rain, but there is a good contrast between the stormy lady and warm lighthouse and warm village. That's exactly what I wanted to achieve here. This very cute postman. I do love this page. This mermaid I did this May. Unfortunately, my Payne's Grey and Indigo watercolors, they bleed through. I used a lot of water, but I'm sure that I will be able to mask it, because for many pictures here I love to do plain background with acrylic paint. Acrylic is opaque, so I simply will cover this background, and I hope that I will mask it. But at least mermaid, it looks really nice. I was happy with everything here, with her very vibrant hair color, with her skin, with her eyes, and of course all those flowers, sea creatures which she has around her head. It's a Snow Queen, a very old work. Another old work where I used color softs, Prismacolors, and also Derwent drawings. They are really nice for this hygge style Scandinavian pictures without vibrant colors, those leaves and villages, a lot of wood. Derwent drawings are really good for such style of pictures. And then one vibrant element, the sweater on the bear. I think that it really helped to attract attention to the bear. This one is unfinished. I didn't like how watercolors behaved here. I tried to add a little bit of salt for some effects and it didn't work at all, so I abandoned it, unfortunately. It's a good thing that it's probably my least favorite picture in the book, so it was good that I experimented on it. This one done completely with Prismacolors. On this very good paper I don't mind to do even the background with pencils. Here I did acrylic background. It's acrylic gouache, quite matte, and then shiny polychromos pencils. Here I did used Prismacolors and I did this magical portal background behind the forest enchantress. That's my lunar cat. I'm glad that I decided to do it in unusual colors with the blue fur. It looks even more interesting together with this magical berry vine and the magical globe. The background is matte blue paint and then I sprinkled on top of it shiny metal paints. Quick and nice looking. This one I love because of the unusual color combo. Oh, this one was my Easter project where I totally dislike the background, but the bunny itself, it's not bad. Somehow I always have a bad luck with my Easter pictures. I always manage to mess them up. This one is lovely, mostly because I love the color combo of this wine red, which I achieved with gouache, I believe, and then with a lot of metal paints on top of it. And this color, of course, it looks well with all shades of gold. Another not very fortunate background for the Easter page, but the page on the left I love with all my heart. I love how I did berries, I love how I did fur on the fox, and the sleeping gnome also is very cute. Next I have this moose and northern light behind. Yes, it's not realistic northern light, but the more fantasy style, but I still think that it adds quite festive and in the same time winter looking background, and black color of course complements all the magical mushrooms and berries, so quite lovely. That was my first project in the book, quick and easy with black acrylic background, simple, but it helped me to feel the style of the artist and to realize that I absolutely love Emelie Lidehall Oberg work. This one I did with Derwent color softs completely. I love them on this paper. It's one of the papers where they work and lay down really well. So I don't love when my pencil sets when they sit idly on the shelves. Unfortunately, I don't use color softs very frequently because they are demanding to the paper quality. On this paper, they work really well. I did this background with color softs, then I added a little bit of drops using stencil and distress inks. So I need to remind myself that in this book I need to use color softs more frequently. I enjoy their colors. I think that their color palette is quite suitable for this book, and it's a good opportunity to use them from time to time. It's this year project. I think that it's definitely on my top list of finished pictures for this year. I love everything here. How I did the little guardian or maybe little sift of treasures. The fur looks quite realistic. I think that it's very well made by pencils and with a little bit of acrylic paint to make those long white hairs on the tail. Then I do love how I did pearls. For a long time I wasn't able to do realistic pearls. Now I think that I finally learned how to color them, so I enjoyed to color them here. And in the end I have this snow troll, also very old work, together Derwent drawings together with Prismacolors, lovely work. Another one where I added background from my imagination. The background was empty, so I decided to add this snow sky and those mountains and even tiny villages on the hills. I think that I managed to match the style of the Emelie Lidehall Oberg, so it's interesting background, but in the same time it doesn't distract attention from the bear. The only thing which I totally dislike here is this poor bird, which I tried to turn into a red cardinal. Well, but it doesn't look very nice. Here I simply tested my pencils. It was difficult to blend them on this paper, so it's not my favorite work. And finally I have this Santa. Nothing special, but at that time I didn't have a lot of Christmas books, so I was happy to color at least that Santa and to do at least something for Christmas coloring. I think that this year I hadn't touched books by M.Trolle at all, so I put here several bookmarks for the pictures which I at least don't totally dislike. I have in these books many pictures which I started then abandoned because I didn't like what I got, but several pictures, they are not bad. Let me show you several portraits in Skimming Tima. I think that here I was inspired by evening time, that's why I did this soft pastel background. Not my favorite way, but I didn't have any other ideas how to finish this page. Here I tried to turn totally summer picture into something wintry. It was my personal challenge. I think that I managed to do it well, in interesting way. Nothing special. It's an old work, and at that time I thought that it was really very creative, very original. Here I do love how I did the bunny's fur. That's where I started to learn how to do the bunny fur. It's a little bit complicated because quite often we can see blend of gray and brown hairs together. So that's where I practice. Surprisingly, this bunny is depicted really well on many other pictures. Animals by M.Trolle, they are very cartoonish and unrealistic, but here I really love the nose area, the eye area, so I think that it's lovely. On many pictures by Maria, I complain about composition, like this one. Very busy on the bottom, nothing on top apart from the unproportional insect. She has these insects everywhere. Here it was one of my ways how to work with such background. I decided to limit it with a frame, and I called this one Symphony is Blue. Of course, my favorite part here is the rusty kettle. I am still proud of it, even if it's very old work. I think that the metal kettle still looks quite realistic, and I remember how proud I was when I completed this page. Well, I always struggle in this book. Do I need to mask lines or it doesn't help a lot? Here I honestly don't like anything. I don't like those strange bunnies, her disproportional head, her strange hair. Well, not my favorite work, definitely. Quite often I use this book because it has very good paper. I wish that this good paper would be spent on better art, like Mr. Hampson or even Matchstick Mouse. Anyway, I do love to use this book for testing new art supplies. This one I did with colors. I decided that even if they can't work even on such good paper, they can't be used at all. So I use them here because I didn't do any complicated shading. I used close colors from more vibrant yellow to pale yellow, from medium green to light green. It was possible to color, but I still didn't enjoy them. The only thing I enjoyed is that they have actually a lot of shades. I have a big set of colors, so it was easy to find colors for various color combos for the leaves. I have pale green, medium green, darker green, so that was interesting to have so many colors in the set. But I wish that they have better quality and they layer better. Another one which I did using soft pastel and Prismacolor pencils. I think that I was inspired by end of the summer time because of the dahlias, because of the oak tree. This one was fun to color because I love to color on black background. You don't need to do the background, so it's another big plus, big advantage. And on black background, all colors like yellow, orange, pink, they pop up so nicely. Here I experimented a lot with watercolor, with gouache paint for the background. Well, not bad, but I absolutely dislike here compositions. Again, those empty background on top and only huge insects. It's ridiculous how many times this method is repeated from one page to another. That's another page which I did for pencil tests. It's very old work, and at that time I was very proud of myself that I decided to do green color of hair. It seemed so creative at that time. And of course I selected it because it has dahlias, one of my favorite flowers. That's another work which I love. Again, I limited the background. I added this arch myself, so now it looks like kind of portal. I do love dark frame and bright colors in the central part. Again, just for pencil test. This one is actually lovely, all done with Prismacolors. I think that you can recognize all those great lavender, mahogany red, clay rose, unique colors from Prismacolor set. And I think that because of the unusual color combo, the whole picture also looks quite lovely. Oh, these pictures I did when I experimented with liquid alkaline watercolors, this one, and when I experimented with white petals. Totally unsuccessfully here. Daffodils, even if I tried to add a little bit of light green shading in the middle, gray plus light yellow shading in the middle, they still look too flat for my taste. I didn't find the way how to divide one white petal from another, so it was steps of experiment. Not very happy with the result, but still I don't care about original pictures also, so I wasn't very disappointed. Here I promised to color birds in different ways, so I found this one with 3 birds, and it was the only reason why I decided to color it. This one is not bad. Again, at that time I was very happy with the color of her hair, very refreshing comparing to the colors of the background. And here again experiments with the background. Some strange neocolor background probably. I used least frequently used colors in my neocolor set. Apart from it, those berries are not bad. Well, simply because I don't like the artist style. I think that because I start to color with such feeling, they all those pictures, they finish also with a lot of disappointment. Maybe I can't put the whole soul into this coloring. It's difficult. And I'm not disappointed that this year I hadn't touched her books at all. I think that for me it's better. In Botanicum works which I want to show you, it's this one. Again, I did it because I tested here my Ecoline liquid watercolor. It's an interesting medium, but it has very vibrant colors. You have to be very careful when you apply it. And here I used, I think, like something from budget. Star Joy pencils. Yeah, Star Joy pencils. Another Easter page. Here, apart from the green watercolor, which didn't work quite well, everything else is okay. You can see that with those white circles, I tried to mask those areas of the background where I didn't manage to do nice gradient from lighter green to darker green, so I had to mask such areas with additional circles. But Bunny is lovely. This one I love because of the contrast of background which I did using Derwent graphitins, and I'm surprised that many people consider Derwent graphitins totally unsuitable for coloring. I got such comments, but on good paper they work well. I did several interesting backgrounds with them. I love their grayish muted colors, especially if you use them to create contrast with more vibrant colors of flowers or ivy leaves. Here I didn't like how she depicted those flowers, totally ridiculously childish. And well, I hope that the bird is just sleeping, not dead. But I mostly did it to experiment with art supplies, not because of the lovely picture. Another experiment, how to color pastel colors of roses. And here I think that I exaggerated a little bit with white and cream Posca. It ruined the atmosphere. This one is lovely, made in my favorite color palette. I also love those peonies, delphinium flowers, foxglows, lovely flower composition, and that's why I decided to color this portrait. Oh, that spread I did again for some crazy experiments with gouache, with watercolor for the background, a lot of metal paints on top, Inktense pencils for the main image. Well, let me not comment what I think about such experiments. This one is lovely, black background, spare me from the efforts to cover background with something, but so I was able to concentrate only on flowers. It was one of my first successful attempts to do three-dimensional poppies, because before my poppies they always looked flat like plates, but here I did more decent shading between layers of petals. And even if now I don't like this white outline which I added, everything else I think looks lovely. I especially love those delphinium flowers. Very lovely. Here I tried to add background with acrylic matte paint. Well, I think that here I do love those autumn leaves, I do love mouse, and I love those red berries. Everything else is not so good, and again those butterflies. It's fun to count how many times she added them on her pictures. This whereas I do love, I did it mostly to practice how to do a wooden background. I added like several wooden planks and then horizontal pattern of the wood. I think that it's all Prismacolors. And of course when I did the background I decided to color them res, even if it's also not the most realistic thing. Maybe I constantly compare her botanical illustrations to Leila Duli, which are much more elegant, much more delicate, and that's why I can't color pictures by M.Trolle, because of compositions, which for me are really bad, and because of lack of fineness, which we can see on Leila Duli art. Another experiment with Ecoline watercolors. There were two colors, they blended well on this paper, and of course I love dahlias, so where I can find pictures with dahlias, I try to color them. And finally, a page which I truly love, with this winter spirit, a lot of Inktense. I think that it was the first time where I used Inktense. Apart from the books by Lizzie Mary Cullen, I was quite happy. Together with Inktense, I used Prismacolors, so it's mixed media picture. I think that it's quite nice for the winter picture. And another winter project which I love. Again, I continued my practice of wooden background. Here, a different color palette, more distinctive yellow and brown colors, and this time in vertical direction. Similar pictures of rest. Well, not bad. At least these winter pictures I do love. And finally I have Luna, which I thought that maybe I will have better luck with it. But I started a couple of pictures. I don't know, something was not very good how I covered the background with acrylic paint. Then I also started another one, and I didn't like how I did this night sky, so I decided that, well, it's not worth time which I put into it. And so far, the one and only picture which I like here, it's this Ukrainian girl. I especially added Ukrainian ornament to her white blouse to make it look like Ukrainian traditional clothes, and of course the sunflowers and red viburnum. Those famous red berries, they are very important for Ukrainian art, Ukrainian culture. We have songs dedicated to those plants, both sunflowers and kalina or red viburnum. So I did it to celebrate Ukrainian culture. Watercolor background, well, not very happy how it behaved here. It's also one of the reasons why I still find it quite difficult to decide what to do with the backgrounds, but at least here the main image is in the center. It's not so bad as on other pictures. And it's the end of my sad story with M.Trolle. I still hope that you enjoyed first books by Emelie Lidehall Oberg and Klara Markova, and I hope that you will join me in the next episodes of this series where I show all my colored pictures.